All right, you guys, it's me, Trudy. You're watching the Trending with Trudy show. Thanks for joining us today. I've got my co-host with me, Chase Hooker, which, yes, it says sober hooker, which leads us to talk about why we are here. We've got Sober Society with us today. We've got Steven and Christopher, founder, co-founder. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I love y'all's gear.
So you
I love
guys,
the- I want to know. Chase has told me so much about your group, your society, and how much it's grown. Tell me a little bit about how did you become, a founder? What gave you this idea to run with this?
So initially, we started off with the apparel line because my wife got a shirt made for me that said "Tattooed and Sober." After me hitting my years of going through sobriety, she came up to me and said, "You know what? I'm gonna get a shirt for you." And I started wearing it and got so much attention around town. People were just like stopping me, just because of the word sober. It was intriguing, and especially somebody in their darkness, they were coming over and just having random conversations for about 30, 40 minutes of just how they're sober or they have a loved one that's sober. So that just like, we carried on that, opened up the apparel side of things, got that rolling, and then as time went on, it kept getting stopped more and more and more, and we figured, you know what, we need to start up actually a group. So that's where the nonprofit was born, and we started up our first initial men's meeting that we hold it at Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah.
And that's really where all this ties in is community.
Yeah.
So the first initial meeting with somebody face to face, and now we're actually growing, and we've got over 100 members right now in men.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome. And Christopher, you have so y'all been sober
correct.
for how long?
Yeah. My sobriety date is February 28, 2017, so coming up on 9 years.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Mine's May 1st, 2022, so a little over 3 years.
Very good, congratulations. And Hooker, Chase Hooker.
March 15th, 2015. So going on 11 years.
That's amazing, you guys. That's amazing. There's something that in the stigma of today's world, it's like it's difficult to go out. It's difficult to go to sporting events. How do you lead people to go to these events sober and say, you know what, we can still have fun. We can still do this. We can still. You hang out with me all the time. It's got to be a difficult thing.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point you brought up, Trudy, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was in addiction for so many years, because of what you just stated. I didn't know how to fully function in a setting like a birthday party, a restaurant, a Spurs game, a fiesta event, because for 15 years, the alcohol and those two went together.
Sure.
And that's the only way that I knew how to function.
Yeah.
And so I think the fear of trying to do those things sober kept me out for so long.
Sure.
Little did I know, when I got sober, and it did take me about probably 6 months to get back into that type of environment where I felt comfortable enough with my sobriety and who I was, that I actually started to have a better time in those moments because number one, I was remembering them, and number two, I wasn't making a fool out of myself. And number three, it was like one of those things that I actually cherished. Instead of just going, and to me, I was a blackout drinker. So I would black out and not remember any of even at a Spurs game.
Yeah.
And so now we've started to incorporate what we call game days with Sober Society, where we'll have a family fun day. We have an upcoming, actually, UT versus Oklahoma Sooners football
Fun.
game, where we
Okay.
invite the members out, women and men, and their families, to be in a sober environment with a group of individuals that are sober,
Yeah.
so they can actually feel comfortable in that type of environment.
That's very cool. Because like I said, it's really difficult because you go to the games and what are they doing? Shoving
Right.
drinks in the drink specials and all that. So this is a nonprofit. This is a
Correct.
nonprofit organization. And what is your mission for this in all of it?
Going off of what Chris just said, having the events, the actual purpose of it is actually just bringing this community together. At the end of the day, what we want to do is raise money to get people into sober homes and also sober living,
Oh, wow.
actually in rehab. So we've teamed up with a couple places in town, and we're in the mix of teaming up with a couple people in Austin as well too, doing things differently.
Yeah.
This is a society that has a stigma on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So opening doors differently and giving new light, especially to the younger generation,
Sure.
they have to be intrigued by it as well too, not just the old school ways. So that's what we're really focused on, is doing something different.
Good. I like that. And I feel like in today's world again, you know, you've got all these mocktails going on. It's becoming a thing.
Right.
It's becoming, I say a thing, you know, with all due respect. And it's like you see these mocktails, you see the non-alcoholic bars that are opening.
Yeah.
And I think it's something where, you know, people want to do this.
Yep.
It's just hard. And that's why having y'all there, it really helps you
It's
to guide.
It's definitely a movement in the last few years. We've seen that definitely in trending towards a sober way of life for a lot of individuals. And we have what is called, it's a popular term, you may have heard it as well, it's called sober curious.
Okay, yeah.
And so we get a lot of sober curious men, because our group is specifically a men's group. We're launching the women's group as well here starting this Sunday.
Awesome.
But the sober curious guys will come that may still be drinking. They just kind of want to learn more about how we're doing
How to do it, yeah.
sober one day at a time.
Yeah.
And so we'll get a lot of those guys to come out, and we encourage those guys, you know, to kind of show them how to do it if they really want to ultimately make that decision to change their life.
And do you feel like there's a lot of men that, or men and women for that find it hard because they feel like they're maybe embarrassed, or they think they don't realize they have a problem? You don't always have to have a problem to go sober.
Yeah.
No,
you
not
know?
at all. And that's key, what you just said, because not everybody's story has to be a horrible story.
Right.
Yeah.
There can be spiritual story,
Yeah.
there can just be health story, they want to get fit, you know, they want to be in the gym. So that is a great point that you said, and we always encourage that to anybody. Chris mentioned the word sober curious.
Yeah.
And again, going back to that is finding ways to be around people and actually have fun. The term, like we're doing our sober game days. So
I like that.
one thing we do is, you know, encourage not being that spectator, because when I was drunk or going out to a bar or watching a game, I was a spectator. Now that I'm sober, I'm actually in the game. You got to look at it that way.
That's great. I
You know,
like
you're-
that.
You're focused.
Yeah.
You know, you're focused.
Yeah, and you know, you're obviously, all three of y'all are great storytellers. You know, what have you seen yourself learn about telling your story to other people?
I think it's my purpose today, actually. You know, when I look back on my purpose in life, it's to get out of self and help other people. And that's my number one purpose. And by just, you know, I never want to tell somebody how to live a sober life. I'd rather just share my experiences and my story and see how they relate to it.
And see where it relates
Right.
and triggers them to go, oh, okay,
Correct.
okay.
And so any platform, anywhere I can get on a podcast and share, you know, how Become Sober completely changed my life, I take that opportunity to do so, not for me to be in the limelight, but to help others maybe seek what they're actually seeking, that may be sobriety down the road.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And for you, I know you share your story, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing on the lines. We just opening that door for people. One thing that we do we have our meetings only once a month. We started off with once a month. Then we've gotten like this courageous people coming forward and they want to learn more, and especially somebody early in their journey, 1 month is not enough. So we bumped it up to 2, and we're finally going to try to get to 4 by the end of the year.
Wow.
But what we also done we started up a group me, so that's an extension of our meetings, and that's where it really goes down, because every single day, Chris or myself starts it off with a morning message of gratitude, or
That's
somebody,
awesome.
and we give that opportunity to anybody. You
Yeah.
wake up at 5, you wake up at 4, get it started.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't just necessarily have to come from us.
Sure.
Yeah, and Trudy, I don't necessarily like to say my sobriety date whenever somebody says, you know, how long have you been sober? I've been sober since I've woken up today. We just get one day, right? So it's one day at a time.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
You know, if I'm getting up this morning at 6 o'clock and Chase is getting up, you know, at 5 o'clock, he's got more sobriety than me.
Wow.
And we talk about that with our daily gratitude. And we're big on gratitude, right?
Yeah.
And so we find the things that we're truly grateful for, and we state those in what Stephen was talking about in that group me, which is it's a messaging support generation board for the guys in our group to be there for one another. So when they face challenges that might tempt them to go back and take that first drink, we're their support system in that group.
Well, that's great, because my next question is, do you think it's an intimidating transformation, I would imagine, for some or most? And where do you guide them and say, okay, I mean, like, how do you get that, we can do this? It's like you said, I guess it's day by day.
It's definitely day by day, and we're not the one all be all.
Right.
You know, we encourage people, whatever works for you. Coming from AA or Celebrate Recovery programs like that, we're more of an outlet for us to come as a brotherhood. The brotherhood is where it really goes down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way we kind of approach things.
Yeah.
And like Chris said, we never want to come across as like, this is what you need to do. This is what worked for me.
And
It may work differently for
Right.
somebody else. But again, we're a brotherhood, non-judgment zone place to come, sober curious, or just want to be around like-minded men.
I like that. And go ahead.
And I was going to say, I've attended a lot of their sobriety meetings and stuff over there at Black Rifle, and just to see the brotherhood, the community, and everybody coming together, it's just amazing to see the transformation of people, because we've got people that are in there that are, first weekend, and then others that have, one of the guys got 30 years. It's just incredible. But what we always kind of say to recap that is that, whatever works for you is how you need to stay sober.
Yeah.
It might not, my sobriety journey is different from Stephen's, it's different from Kristen's, but whatever works for that person is. But we're here to kind of inspire
And guide.
plant some nuggets, and give them a little bit of guidance, and then they're on their own journey.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see people that have started to do that, and then they come back, and they communicate with us, and they're saying, I got 90 days in on sobriety, or I got a year, and it fills my heart when I see that. So,
Well, and like you were saying, even just the one day, even saying, one day,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to try to, but I try to do a sober January.
Yeah.
There you go.
I do that.
Start.
Great.
Yeah.
Start.
Been doing that for a few years, and it feels good. It's a little recharge. So there are different ways to go about doing things like this. Y'all are so strong about the brotherhood and the community. Sisterhood will be there as well, like you said,
Yes.
starting this
Sunday, October 5th at Crush Coffee in San Antonio. It's on Boulevardy Road.
Okay.
Right there on
That's the
1604.
new one that you were telling me
Yes.
about, I think. Yeah.
I
Well,
love
and
that
so
place.
y'all have y'all's meetings, like you said, at the same place? Is it at
No, so
Black Rifle?
our meetings are going to be at Black Rifle.
Okay.
So there's a couple other doors opening up.
Okay.
That have come to our attention that there might be opportunities to expand.
Okay.
To actually, of course, even in Austin, we've got a couple members that want to
Nice.
do it in Houston as well too. So it's definitely growing. The women's side of thing, I think that one's going to be amazing. And I know our brotherhood has been amazing, but the women's one is just going to open up so many different doors, because
Yeah.
it's not just sober women. It's going to be the women that are actually supporting their loved ones.
That's right.
Right.
So
right.
that's what's key. A lot of people, that goes unnoticed.
I know that when you spoke at their event not too long ago, it was obviously the men only. What's having the men separated from the women? Is it an intimidating type of thing?
No, I think it's more of a vulnerability type of thing,
Okay.
where men can be real and honest with each other.
Yeah.
And in some instances, if there is a significant other or a woman, what we found is that they don't typically, myself included, I wouldn't like to open up in that type of environment.
Sure. Okay.
And so it just makes the men more comfortable if it's men. And then, of course, for the women's side, the women's side is, if you're struggling with alcohol too, and Stephen will definitely probably talk about this as well. It's more for the women that have been in an alcoholic relationship,
Yeah.
and they may not be alcoholic, but they may know what's going on in that relationship, and want to talk about it to other women,
Yeah.
and share their stories, strength and hope.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to that for sure.
Yeah.
I want to
It's
be.
going to be wild.
Yeah.
I think it's going to really, really be nice.
Again, going back to the merchandise that I'm going to be
Yeah.
getting some soon.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
can people find this? Where can
So
people?
the site for the apparel is going to be sobersocietyapparel.com.
Okay.
So eventually we'll have our website for the nonprofit, which will be it's deemed under the name Sober Society Social.
Okay.
So as a whole, we're Sober Society as a like the hub,
Yeah,
I would say,
yeah.
and then it's going to branch out. So
Okay.
there might be opportunities for other things as well too. So but these are the two main sources: is apparel, nonprofit, brotherhood, sisterhood.
I love that. So again, every day is a big win. Every
Yeah.
day is it's a challenge, but you get through it, and you've got people like you that can support and help and guide. So it's really, really cool. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Any
Right.
invitations? Any next events coming up?
Yeah, I think just to summarize kind of what you just stated, I was told early in sobriety, if you get through the day without taking a drink, you get 100. You get 100%. And so that's the way that I look at it. We just look at it for those 24 hours. If I get through the day and I don't pick up the drink, it's 100%. And I've learned also through sobriety that you know, I look at days differently, right? Because used to in the past, I would say, man, that was a rough day,
Yeah.
or I had a bad day today.
That's a great point. 'Cause
right?
that's what I was going to say. Like, you have your bad days, good days.
Yeah.
You got to push through.
But what I've learned in that is that going through sobriety is every day's a blessing. Every day's a good day. We may have those bad moments, and those moments we push through and get through. But the entire day, if you make it through that day without picking up a drink through those challenges and troubles, you get 100, and every day's a good day. Every day's a blessed
Yeah.
day. And so that's the way that we try to look at life today. And you can elaborate a little more on the
No.
events.
On the events, well, piggybacking off what you said too about every day's a new day. It's, you know, we've run into a couple situations where people are getting newly sober and they're like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to stay like this. Like, don't worry about
Yeah.
a month from now. Don't worry about a year from now.
Just
You worry
point.
about today.
Right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and you start fresh the next day and then keep going.
Yeah.
You know,
That's great
and
advice.
that's where you really get those sober days,
Yeah.
those accountability days as well too. Like, and we're big on shining the light for somebody else. So if we're getting attention, we want people that are getting that attention to shine onto somebody else and
Yep.
give them the confidence, and it's just that domino effect.
It
Just
bounces
boom,
off
boom,
of each
boom,
other.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I love that.
But then the next event is going to be October 11th at Chicken and Pickle.
Oh, fun.
At 2:30 is when.
Is it because of OU and Texas fight?
It is. It is. And
Big game.
Yeah.
we've done 2 events like that so far. This will be our second one.
Nice.
But we're going to branch out. We're going to do like hikes, you know, workouts maybe at the Spur Center over in La Cantera.
Yeah.
There's so many different opportunities just to come together.
Well, you guys, you can't go wrong with all these events that are going to be happening. So, Chase, Christopher, Stephen, thank you so much. And again, the women's who's going to come out soon, the Sisterhood, October 5th, right?
Yes,
Okay.
October 5th.
And we'll talk more about that in the future, hopefully.
Absolutely.
So,
No, maybe
yeah.
we'll get them on there.
All
Well,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure,
Definitely.
for sure. All right, you guys, you're watching the Trending with Trudy show. This is Sober Society. Y'all go check them out. We'll put all their information on the website. So thank you all so much. Thanks for watching. Bye.